Hey YouTube, apparently I am live, setting up the camera while I wait for a few of you to show up, in case anybody actually wants to show up. And then we will start talking about what I'm thinking about doing. A few things going on here. And we'll see if you like this idea. This is an idea I haven't shared with anybody yet. So hopefully you like. Well, I take that back. I shared it with Kurt. I did share it with him. Hold on, I'm getting a candle lit. Reptile rooms. Well, mine doesn't smell bad, but they always, smell like animals swarming here. All right, let me get this all set up. The back is way better. I'm back at work. It is freaking awesome. So, never thought I'd say it's awesome to be back at work, but I did. Hey, there we go. Still fighting my piece of shit tripod. All right. Yes, the ambiance, right? The smell of festive cocktail. I'm feeling way better. Like, I can't tell you how much better I'm feeling. But with that, I had a bit of an idea. Okay, I've had a little bit of an inspiration, and I want to run that by you guys and see what you think. And if you like it, we're gonna start doing it. I'll have to get kind of a schedule together, and we'll go from there. So this is what I'm kind of looking at. And we're out of the breeding season for us. I cut my last clutch. You saw that last clutch update number 17. At least I think it's my last clutch. There's still a chance, we may get one more, but I kind of doubt it. So that means we wouldn't have as many live videos. And I've kind of gotten to where I like doing these. So I would have thought, well, man, Pride Texas, like literally, I just saw your last text come in. I didn't get a chance to read. I only got the little bit of a part, but I'll get to it. We'll figure that part out. So here's kind of what I'm thinking is starting a series. I don't know if it'd be bi-weekly or monthly. Probably not quite weekly, at least not yet. And what we would do is we would pick a topic, and I would probably, make a typed post, right? And then we'd pick a topic together. Somebody suggest something, we'd go with it, and then we'd have that topic and we would discuss it here live. So what would happen is we would turn this camera on at a set time, and we'd talk about it as hobbyists together, right? Where we can all share and exchange ideas, not where it's me necessarily doing the teaching or me putting out the information. I want the information to come from both directions. I want open-mindedness, and I know doing that, there's always a danger we're going to get some trolls who are going to be blah, blah, blah. We'll boot them and move on, and we can hit issues like the market, breeding, the inbreeding, spider ball pythons, lethal combos, what we know about those. We can hit issues like different genes. If we want to focus one day on like talking about a certain genetic and ways we can use that, and ways it's been used, we could do that. It's kind of really whatever you guys want to have that conversation be about, and we would do that live. So, what do you guys think? Good idea, or waste of time? Would you guys like to have that conversation? About, so we would focus just on this topic. There would be rules to it. If we're going to do this, I think we have to have rules, like kind of like a moderation. And yes, Kentuckian, my back is, I'm still doing a lot of icing and things like that, and I'll be doing a lot of core exercise to kind of try to keep that from happening again. The rules would be that no matter what I don't say no matter what anybody says, but we'd have to kind of keep it. I don't want it to turn into fighting or arguing within the comments or within here, anything like that. So it's going to have to be respectful from both sides for everybody. So if somebody comments, even if they're dead wrong, we're going to have to be respectful. Everybody needs to be respectful. And if they choose to stick with their opinion and say, well, this is the way I feel, then you know what? That's their right to feel that way. And maybe they'll come around one day, maybe they won't. So, I can't control that. But it's just an idea where we can all share. So anyway, it is Matt from Olympus Reptiles. What's going on, TJ's Reptiles? So, super black pastel kink issues. We'll discuss that one here eventually, but I just wanted to discuss that idea today and see if that idea was feasible and if you guys liked it, because I am looking for new live things to do. And then I've got something I want to update you guys on in the Olympus world. You know what, James? I don't really want to turn into a little bit of Patreon because I want to have those live discussions. But here's what happens when these comments on YouTube come in. I catch maybe 1 in 10 because there's just boom, 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 and then I have to find one, and then boom, 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 and then I have to find one, and so it's never going to be like Patreon. It's never going to be like Patreon, and that's why we kind of ratcheted Patreon down to a certain number. And obviously, anytime we go live here, I will also be live on Patreon, and we can go in depth on the topic there a little more. We can get into some more personal, what I think and how I feel and what you guys feel, and that's, I kind of look at it like I want this, these conversations kind of be as a wider hobby, and a hobby inclusive, and hopefully hobby gaining. I want people from outside the hobby who are just interested to have those tire kickers to come into this. Patreon's like that tight knit family, where I want that to be our in close locked in group. That's why it can never get too big, and that's why that cap can't change. It's going to be always that tight knit, family. I don't know if we have any K State football fans on here. I'm a big K State football fan, even though this year's been rough. And Bill Snyder, one of the things that is on all the signs here has always been preached is family, right? It's all about family, and family isn't just who you're blood related to. It's kind of who you're thrown in with, and that group that you're really together with, that you're kind of pushing through with. And for me, that family is Patreon. So if I was going to compare it to like turn this into kind of Patreon, this would be like for all of college football fans, and then Patreon would be that team that's working together. So when we all have something in common, that would be the actual family. And yes, Ghost Rider, I do. On Patreon, I don't get near as many comments because there's not as many people on it at once, and it's going to just I could get to everything, right? And then if you post a comment on there, I'm going to get to the comment every time, or I'm going to try to, and you can message me directly, and I'm going to respond back to you. So Patreon, yes, you have a lot bigger ear to what I'm doing, and deservedly so, because you're contributing to help us grow. Like I owe that for what comes. This little sheet of paper, though, is what I really want to update you on today. Now that we know that is a good idea, and thank you, Jamie. I really appreciate that. So, and the reason why, because I didn't pick a topic today, and there's not a super caramel albino because caramel albino is recessive. So basically, and I'll get that paper. We'll talk about caramel albino really quick. And I don't work with caramel albino. And the reason I don't work with caramel albino is because of known kinking issues that toffee doesn't have. I think toffee would be, it's just a better choice for me. That being said, I know some caramels that are beautiful. But that kinking issue is well documented. I've seen people try some things that are known to help prevent some of that. And it didn't really fix it. So I'm out of caramel. The only thing I have some possible het caramels. I didn't get them because they were het caramels. I got them because they're 100% het clowns. And I'm not even going to work the caramel aspect. If I ever make a caramel, it'll be by accident. So Patreon is the easiest place to be to buy a snake. Absolutely. That being said, we do have some that will hit public. It's just they go there first, but deservedly so. It's the way it kind of is figured. So it is less anonymous. Maybe that way I know I'm talking to too. But that caramel albino, and when you get into genetic terms, one of the things that is confusing when you first start is all of the idea of you got your supers and your recessives and all of these things, and really what it really boils down to is heterozygous and homozygous, right? Heterozygous and homozygous. Hey, ball and chain constrictors. Oh, never mind. I was thinking of ball and chain reptiles because your ball and chain reptiles, I once bought an animal from you, but I didn't know if you remembered that. If it's the same ball and chain, and it was at, I think, a show in Missouri, but not St. Louis, Springfield. Anyway, most of my wardrobe is purple, about half of it. I have a lot of Olympus shirts. It is what it is. So what I mean is if you just think of things as heterozygous and homozygous, and you throw out all the terms of super. Super was a great marketing term, and it's awesome to say something super, super pastel. It just, sounds great. But the thing is that Zygous pastel, one copy, and then homozygous pastel is super pastel, two copies. So heterozygous and homozygous. So when you get into caramel albinos, because it's recessive, it already is the super. So you have the heterozygous, which you don't see, and then you have the homozygous, which is visual. So that would be kind of the thing to go with. Um, so yeah, you know, uh, if I wanted to get a wild caught, it would have to be something special, because I just here's my feeling on that. I've looked at doing some buy the import bags and things. I just can't bring myself to do it. The reason I can't, yeah, it's just on our Facebook. You can find it there, and it's going to change here soon, actually. But if you send either one, 5912 Charm, Manhattan, Kansas is where I'm at now, and my facility when it moves will be like literally right over there. And what I mean though, back on what I was on, I'm like a squirrel, I get off. So the birds and the bees about your balls, I like that. So yeah, the wild caught Ghana farms that got me on it. Is if you're bringing in something that's unique, that's worth bringing in. But there are so many ball pythons that have been brought in. I don't think the gene pool's weak, and I can make new hets by simply taking a visual and breeding it to something unrelated. I've done that. That's how I've got a lot of my hets are self-made. The vast majority of them. One of the exceptions being the pastel het xanthic. And no, you heard of soda, not a beer. It's an off-brand soda. Question Girl's making me some dinner, and her some dinner actually. So I'm not worried about bringing them in. And the other aspect is there's literally so many snakes brought in from the wild, and I just don't think we need to. I mean, a captive bred snake makes a better pet, and the vast majority of those that get brought in, they end up going to someplace for a Petco, I don't know where they end up. They end up in a pet shop, and they don't make the best pet for somebody. They don't usually make the most successful pet on a wild caught snake because the way they're shipped, how much stress there is, and all of that. So I don't personally think that I'll be bringing those in for me, unless there's something like specific, like a specific animal that I would buy one day from a place in like Ghana that had a look that I wanted. Kind of like, when the big guys like, Barchek bought a pinstripe, and I want to say it was Kevin, don't quote me, from New England that got the first spider and those kind of things, But I don't think I want to bring in a bunch of wild ones because I don't think it makes good pets for people. And that's what I'm really doing. I'm working on giving people animals they can enjoy. That's my main focus. So that's where I'm at. That could. Hey man, I appreciate that, Corey. That's awesome, and that's what I want. I want others to be successful. So, farm raised in Africa is, if you look at what they actually do, farm raised just simply means they own or lease or have the rights to a plot of land, and you go out there and you just harvest the eggs that the pythons are laying in the wild there, and then they just basically set them up in a room that's 90 degrees because it's 90 degrees out there, and they let them hatch, and then they take those and ship them off, and they pull out anything that's obviously different, and then they'll hit up certain people on a market or buyers, and that's how they kind of do that. And they end up going for large amounts of money and taking a risk. So, uh, and will we be breeding venomous snakes? And I know looks like there's a conversation about something about playing God, and I missed part of that, so I don't know what's going on with that. Maybe eventually, but I won't do it. What has to happen first is my other business that I'm a part owner in, the Manhattan Reptile World, where we're opening our small zoo and all of that. That has to finish being built. It's just taking forever. I did share some pictures, I think, recently on our Patreon of one of the cages that's finished, so it is coming along. Actually, it was a lens clip, it wasn't a picture. It had some monitors in it temporarily. There are other cages getting done. Anyway, so that's coming. And after that, I have to have a USDA inspection and get a license and get all of that so I can get in the non-native species. And with the USDA license, we can begin doing some breeding, and we will probably look at doing that. So that's going to be a while, unfortunately, because I want to make sure that when I do that, I'm standing on firm ground to do it, and not doing everything I can do to not create a bad spot in the hobby for venomous keepers. So actually, Max, I don't know if I have any more hobbies left this year. Uh, I have to go back and look because I think we have some that we may not have, or have we released them all? I have to go back to my records, see if we have any that haven't sold already on Patreon. So you're answering the odd questions. Well, I guess, thank you. I don't know what the odd questions were, but ah, yeah, on issues in breeding, and we'll do a whole topic on that because again, I don't want just my opinions. I want to hear some of yours. From the research I've done and the things that I've done. Uh, oh, we'll get to that one second. 2112. I'll hit that up. Actually, I'll talk about that, and why not? But it's I think you can, but I think you have to outcross at a point. So you have to really work to outcross that animal. Eventually, you can't do a sib to sib, take those babies a sib to sib, take those babies a sib to sib. You can do a sib to sib. Then when you get those visuals, then it's time maybe to outcross and bring some new bloods in, make some new hets, and then we'll kind of get some new genetics and some new DNA in there. So there's that. But now, as far as in the idea of are we playing God by breeding animals? So it's really simple. If we are, and I can see, yeah, it is my passion in life, and it is random mutation that showed up in the wild. God made the mutation, I didn't. I just chose to breed it. Um, and if we're playing God when dealing with breeding snakes for a color, or with breeding snakes for a pattern, which we do. We do that. We are selectively breeding animals for a certain look and a certain color, and to say we're not would be a bold-faced lie. I'm not going to say I'm not doing that. I guess I don't know if I'd consider that playing God. I would never try to put myself on the level of whatever creator anybody chooses to believe in, because I'm not that. Uh, yes, I know Viper Keeper, and that's a beautiful rattlesnake. But, when it comes to playing God, if we are doing that in the reptile industry, then I want to be clear. The beef industry is too. Okay, because they select their bulls. They select their bulls for their cows for certain reasons, for certain size, certain meat content, for certain growth rate, for everything. People who breed dogs are doing that. People who breed cats are doing that. People who breed horses are doing that. Dogs would have been done. You'd have been saying humans have been playing God for so long because I have a Shih Tzu, and it's a real far cry from a werewolf, right? Or wolf, not a werewolf, but you know what I mean. So it's really no different. What I'm doing with snakes is no different than what human beings have been doing for thousands upon thousands of years since we first domesticated animals. There was dogs, cattle, chickens. I mean, those are bred for certain qualities. Hogs, so there's no difference. It's just some people don't like snakes, and so they get all assed up about it. And that's okay. If you don't like it and you want to get assed up about it, that's fine, and that's your right. You don't have to like snakes. All I'm asking is that if you don't like snakes, one, I'm not sure why you're here, and two, why wouldn't you respect somebody else's right to like them? That'd be like me saying, you know what, I don't like babies, and so every time I see somebody with a baby, like, why do you have babies? You're playing God. You picked a woman to breed with and made a baby. No, what? And I really don't. I wish I could breed a werewolf, right? Not me personally. That'd be weird. But, and I like kids, but babies kind of freak me out. So anyway, that's easy. That's easy. What's the chance? My favorite ball python I've ever created is Zeus. Yeah, Zeus is. I'll get him. Zeus gets more camera time than probably anybody. Oh, he laid a big turd. Thank you, buddy. That's what I wanted you to do. Not really. This is my favorite right here. Hands down, no doubt. And the reason Zeus is my favorite is I think when you get in this hobby, if you're going to have long-term lasting, it can't be a money thing because I'm not going to say you can't make money doing this and go off on that, oh, woe poor is me. You can. But, if it's just about the money, it takes so long to turn a profit and you end up investing so much time and so much money. If you're only about the money, you're probably going to bail, right? This was my first goal. This is what I wanted to do. Give question girl a baby. Um, so this is, no darkness, not the darkness, David, is not my favorite one. This is what got my passion lit. So this is the one that drove me. Without this snake here, finding this type of ball python on the internet and looking at it and going, wow, then I would have never probably gotten into this hobby the way I did. And I would never be doing the things I'm doing. So Zeus here is my favorite. So there we are. Woo! Touched your nose and you freaked out. Buy her a cat. Darkness is the one that's still acting funny though. If we get another clutch this year, it'll be from her. I'm going to put you back in there, but I have to clean this big log he left while I do it. And it is, for all those people who see me clean poop with my hands, I do that. When it's wet, grab a paper towel. Wet and fresh, you don't want to touch that. So, yucky. Now, there is something I wanted to share with you guys really quick. And what that is, oh yeah, Suma pipes are beautiful. So I'm looking into those one day. I got my Suma, as you guys know. But I wanted to share with you this piece of paper. So let me show that to you really quick. And what that is a rough drawing with sizes and everything of my current reptile room. Right? So that's kind of what this place looks like and how much room I have. 8 foot by 9, 15 foot by 7. That's what we work with. Now, let me show you what we're moving into. Because for those of you who have followed us, especially you Patreon members, you know I've been talking about we're getting this facility where we're going to be moving everything slowly but surely. And, I'm not sure which crazy clutch you're talking about. And so all of that is going to be happening. Well, this is what we're moving into. Okay. This room here is room number 1. And I want to be clear. Room number 1. It is 15 feet 4 inches, 12 foot 11 inches, 22 feet. This here is 4 feet, and then it has a separate room, which will be a wash sink and everything else in it, and then a room for like babies in there. And it is going to be 6 feet by 7 foot 4 inches. So, because there's a little bit of a dead space where the sink is too. So we'll have a lot more room in just that room. And then I'll have a walk-in incubator that we'll be building in there that doesn't come out of that space. And then I have another room that's way larger than that, which will have all my oddities and can have some spillover if I need. So basically, there's a door here too. This alcove area here will be my area for my FB20s, which are like, these size here, which you guys see for all my grow-ups. And then over in here, somebody's crying. Oh man, I don't know what's that. In this room here will be my babies, and there'll be some spillover possibly. And then here we'll probably have some males, some females, and some females. So we can get a ton of things in there for that. And then I have another room that's even bigger, and then we'll actually have a living space upstairs for, as we talked about on Patreon, there will be chances for people from Patreon to get to come stay literally in the apartment kind of thing upstairs, where they'll get to spend time with us, how we work with our animals, kind of actually staying in our breeding facility. This is all going to be eventually going to build some things, set some things up, and that'll be available. It'll have a pool, and it'll also have multiple porch spaces, entertainment spaces, full kitchen, living room area, and everything else. And it'll be literally right next to my house. So I'm really excited about that. And it is kind of all done. And yes, somebody hit it. This is not my full-time job. I am a police officer. So, that's my goal. My goal is for this and filming other places to eventually be my full-time job. And yes, I did say pool, big in-ground pool. Snakes gotta swim, right? But it's going to take a while. I've got more time. So like when I say I have all this much room, what we're not going to do with this is we're not going to go out and just instantaneously buy a bunch of snakes and a bunch of racks and just fill it up. That's not the goal. The goal is to be able to kind of go ahead and add some things in and grow with it over time. And eventually I can get to the size that I want to be in there which is going to be about, with everything there. What's up, Cusco? We can run probably roughly up to 200 snakes. And I can also still use this room if I need. And yeah, so the pool would be Sobek proof if I didn't fill it all the way, but he ain't getting that whole pool. Oh man, the back is rocking. I mean, I do backflips, but I haven't been able to do those since I don't know I was born. The back's doing great though, so it is going to be great, and it'll take probably a full year to get moved over. The reason for that full year would be I have a theory that when you're in the middle of breeding season, I don't like to move my snakes. Anything that stresses out a female is going to cause them to possibly not lay or not give it a clutch. Good night, Jamie. And I don't want to move them during that. So what we'll do is we'll set up empty racks over there, and as the females lay eggs next year, sober as a caiman most of the time. So back though, yes, he will be moving over there rather quickly once we get it all done, along with my venomous stuff and my weird things. But when these lay eggs and I redo their tub after laying, that's when I'll make the move. That way I can get them de-stressed. I'm going to hit all that stress at once, taking their eggs, resetting the tub, all of that. I'm going to move them at the same time and try to get that taken care of that way and not have to miss or have a slow breeding season. And then we'll keep coming up and up and up and growing. So that's the goal. And I don't ever want to get bigger than that. I think I can handle that much if this is my full-time job. So I want to get to that point when I leave. And I don't really want to make it where my job is managing people. I look at people like, there's two big names I'm going to drop right now. And then I'll probably kind of finish this topic. And then we'll start planning to do this again on a set topic. So like that set topic we'll focus on, right? And that's what the conversation will be steered to. This is an existing space. It's already built. It's a really cool little neat lake cabin. So, and a schedule for Patreon. What we do on Patreon is every day we post a video here. We post on Patreon. Every time we post a live here, I'll go to Patreon and do a live, and I try to post roughly once a day general stuff, whether it's a lens, a photo, something. So, yeah, and I did pick up an existing property, but it's connected to mine, so it'll give us 5 acres on the lake as well. So it'll be cool, going to be really cool. So, I won't get bit moving venomous snakes, dude. I've moved them all over the place. I'm only moving 2 until the zoo's done. I'm moving a whole bunch, and then I'll probably, only have 1 ear. And then my red one will move there, and I'll have my carpets, and I'll have my GTP and my gator over there. So, yeah, that's kind of what the plan is going to be there. And the reason Patreon members are going to be the ones who get a chance to win to come stay there, and on certain levels it's built in. It'll be built in that you get, once a year to come stay for a weekend. It's because that's how we funded this is through Patreon. So that's where that'll be. All right, so is there any questions about the new facility that I need to address that you guys have before we hop off and wrap this up? And then we'll pick a new topic for next time. And like I say, we're going to start a series doing this. It'll probably land on Mondays because soon I'll have Mondays off. Oh, the big names I was going to drop. Right, talking about the facility and why I want to stop at a certain point. The 2 names I'm going to drop are 2 people that in this industry that a lot of people know and a lot of people look up to, and that would be like Brian Barczyk. Obviously, he's on that spectrum where he's not as large as he once was, and he talked a long time ago about how he shrunk down his collection to make it more manageable so he could be more involved daily with the animals. But let's be honest, a lot of his job is managing people. He has to have so many employees to run that facility, and he has to, manage his employees, which he's got some good employees right now, it sounds like, and everything's going great, and that's awesome. And then I'm also going to talk about Justin Koblika, JKR. JKR, I think he has one guy that helps him out, or something of that nature, and he runs that facility mostly himself. And so the difference is, it does look pretty badass. And like I say, this is not a rip in either one of them. But as I'm growing and I look at those 2 established people and I say, what is it that I want, out of what I'm doing? And yes, I'm coming to Denver. I will be there. But I'll explain something about that here in a second too. Do I want to have my collection be as large as possible, which is cool. I can have a lot of cool stuff and do a lot of cool projects and speed things up and all of this, but have to hire people and have all of this and have this overhead and really have to be a people manager? Or do I want to keep it kind of smaller, because JKR say he's the biggest small breeder there is, and keep it a level where I can be that involved and that involved in the projects and that involved in what I do and not have to worry as much about employees. And I find myself thinking that what JKR is doing fits more what I want to do, Uh, and so I like that size. That's kind of where my focus is, to be more like what he's doing, where I have a set number that I can deal with without having to have a bunch of employees, and I can manage animals and my passion and not have to manage people and have less time for my passion. So that's where I'm at, and that's why I was dropping those two names. Like I say, I'm not ripping anyone or saying anybody's doing it wrong. It's what you want to do, and that's kind of where I want to be. So yeah. Hey man, I appreciate that, Nathan, and that's because we just turn the camera on and talk. We don't plan shit. That's the truth of it. I don't know about that one. That's too far away for me to know. Who is JKR's Justin Koblika? JKR, Justin Koblika Reptiles. So, but I will be at Colorado. However, I will not be selling Olympus reptile snakes at Colorado. One of the things I did want to do is get to more shows, and I have sucked at that because we've been sold out. So, how do I manage to do that? How do I get to shows and sell animals I'm proud of when I don't have animals to sell? Well, it's really simple. You guys have heard me talk about tall grass reptiles a lot. There are people I learned a lot from and still do, people I buy a lot of animals, and that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be selling for tall grass. But here's the kicker. Right now, we're set to have 2 tables and 6 displays, right? And it's going to be me and camera guy Kurt, my buddy Jeff, probably making the trip to kind of help us out with that and do sales there in Colorado, which I love when we went to last time. And JKR does have the sumo pipe, that's right. And what we're going to be doing is selling their animals. Now, don't be sorry, David, I appreciate it. Buy all of them. That's what I need. I need to sell them, right? And the thing is, with that, though, one of the things I asked Tall Grass, and they agreed to do, is I said, hey, look, we got this Patreon thing, as you guys know, and certain levels, the $15 level and up, once they've been charged 1 month, one of the things they get is a discount at shows, an automatic discount at shows. And he is going to honor that. So if you come to the table in Denver and buy from me on a tall grass animal, well, he's going to be the one setting the prices. They're his animals, and they won't be numbered like mine or anything like that. I mean, we do things a little bit differently, but I trust his animals. I trust that source, and I know I'm going to be giving a high quality animal when I sell one of his. So and it'll be advertised as tall grass reptiles, and there'll be some of our stuff there to say we're the ones selling it. So we're not going to be presenting their animals as ours or anything like that. It's going to be a little bit different. And Red, we'd love to have you. I do like it there. But he is going to honor that percentage off. So if you come up there and you're a Patreon member at that level or higher, you're going to get a deal, right? Right there. Boom, it's going to happen. Now, how we manage to do that, we're going to obviously get a little bit from the sale for selling things and making the trip. He's covering our expenses. So we mostly want to go to be able to be with people and meet people in person and not just have you see us through the screen. I want to see you too and have those conversations and see you guys. So, and it doesn't where I'm at, depending on the venomous snake. If you want to get into anything that's not native, yes, it does. And you have to not live in town. I live out in the country, so I have to abide by state law, not city ordinance. City ordinance actually is a flat no. No matter what you do in the city of Manhattan, you're not supposed to own a venomous snake. The only way we get away with the shop is through the pet shop license. As a retail pet shop, we have an exemption from the city ordinance, so that's why we're able to do that. So, dude, I know I don't need Pied for sale. Man, Pied got eaten up by Patreon like that. He is, and I'm not talking about Rich as far as the pricing goes. That guy has been, see, here's the thing, man. JKR has been in this for a really long time, right? And so he's built up these projects. He's really line bread his pies. He's done a lot of really cool stuff, and that's how you get to that. And that's kind of some of the things that I look at doing. Not so much pies and not doing the same thing he's doing, but there's projects I'm working on that are near and dear to my heart that I want to eventually be known for. Like our Xanthic stuff. When you think Xanthic, I want people to think Xanthic Olympus reptiles. That's what I want them to think. Not that there's other people who are quality out there. There absolutely is. You guys heard me mention like not JKR, but like John Dog, JD Constriction on that a ton of times. And there won't be any other racks there that I know of, because that actually comes out of Alabama. They're two partners. One of them moved to Alabama, was building the racks, still doing some sales, and then here. Yeah, the Clits, man. The Clits is one of our doing. Scoot this back and I'll pop her out. And I'm going to do a lot of cool stuff with this as time goes on. And the camera never picks her up very well. Oh, but she's looking like she'll possibly breed this season. And I'll tell you what, man, that color, I like that personally better than the Magma stuff even. Just beautiful. And I know some things I can put to that and make some killer stuff. So I'm excited for that. But, all right, guys. We've been at this now for almost 36 minutes in central Kansas. It is 9 o'clock, and I haven't eaten dinner yet. So I still got to go to Patriots. I'm probably going to hop off and go hit that up. Be careful, James. You can do it, but be careful. Just make sure it's a healthy animal. And definitely quarantine that shit if you get off cake. You should always quarantine. I'm not as anal about it as like some people, but you get that shit from Craigslist, you need to be quarantining that like it's got the plague. So, yeah. Yeah, and I think the market is kind of going to specialized, but I like to have my hands in all the pots. And, that's just kind of the way it goes. So, Xanthic's awesome. I'm an SK guy, but VPI is really nice. You can make great of either one. Your husband's terrified of snakes? We'll bring him over. We'll fix him right up. All right? All right, guys. Thank you all for being here. Look soon for a post. Well, one more thing I got to mention before I go. But look soon for a post from me probably in the next week where we're going to try to get some topics together. And then we're going to start doing this with, series with talking about certain topics. One more thing, you're going to start seeing me post about this too. We are going to be raising money from now until the end of November. And in November, I'm going to grow a really shitty beard because I suck at it. And what that money is going to go to is it's going to go to what we call Hair for the Holidays. And it's through work is how this is done, my day job. And what we'll end up doing with that money is it goes to give kids a Christmas in our community that otherwise wouldn't have one. We literally take people that wouldn't have a Christmas that are recommended by the community and then accept the offer, and then we'll take those kids and we'll literally take them shopping with police officers, firefighters, EMS, whoever wants to volunteer to do that part. I don't always get to do that because of scheduling, but I definitely want to raise money to help that cause. And I have done the shopping before, and it's a lot of fun. And, I've always looked at law enforcement as not a chance to go and arrest people. Do I do that? Yeah, I've done that. But I've always looked at law enforcement as a chance to be a positive influence in your community and a chance to help people. Sometimes, helping people is by arresting somebody else, or sometimes it's part of the job. But I've also gone after I've done that, set with families and tried to make plans on how to help, young people and kids and get them set up to be successful in those type of things, and getting out in the community and be able to do something like this to help kids see that in a different light and help kids have a Christmas that wouldn't have is something that's important to me. So, after you moved to Wichita, the law, God, I don't have a motorcycle. I'm trying to blue something they call them. So they're still there, but there's not a lot of them. I can't think of the name, but yeah. So the charity I'm talking about, though, right? And so anyway, you'll see some links for that. It'll just go through my PayPal, just tag it Hair for the Holidays. So I know what it's for. Know what like a snake payment, and we'll share how much we raise, and of course we'll donate. Every single penny that is donated to us will go directly to that fund to help those kids get a Christmas. So we will be doing that this year again. We did it last year too through YouTube, and we actually did pretty decent. But hopefully we can grow that and give more kids Christmas. Back is great. MRI bill's not going to be, but the back is great. All right, guys. Thank you all so much. We love each and one of you. We'll catch you next time.